Sound levels okay on both channels. 1 2 1 2. Hands about to get things started. 1 2 1 2. Black, hot, fire. Here we go. You know what time it is when you hear that. I want to say welcome back to everybody to the Black Hot Vibe Network show. I'm your host, Mr. Black Hot Vibe, always on that ass. Now we are broadcasting live from the homeland of the United States of America, all the way over to the motherland of Africa, because we are truly one of the only international radio shows, and that's what's up. I want to give a shout out to everyone watching us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter/Periscope, and everyone listening to us on the flagship station, BlackHotFireNetwork.com. So come on in and get your feet wet as we go. Come on. Come on. Black Hot Fire. Come on. Here we go. Black Hot Fire. Hopefully all sound levels are good. Everybody hear me nice and clear, nice and crisp. Black Hot Fire. If I put more bass in it over there. Black, hot, here we go, here we go, here we go. Everybody can hear me all right. All right, make sure you guys hear me all right. I don't know what channel's breaking up, but it is what it is. Slow it up. Anyway, all right. Hey, what's up with everybody? Seems like one stream is acting up, the other one's not. All right. Okay, you can hear me all right. That's good. As long as you can hear me, that's what's up. You know, got too many goddamn critics around here. Oh, my ears are not as great, not as good. I'm having problems here. Shout out to everybody that's here. Those you guys can hear me all right. Those everybody can hear me okay. All right. Shout out to the title. As it clearly reads, your enemies cannot give you your heroes. And unfortunately, black people, that's what we've been suffering under for the longest time. That our enemies haven't given us our heroes, and we've not understood where these people came from. Nobody's ever decided to reverse engineer them, right? Really, until me and other people. I would give Dr. John Henry Clark, who talked about these individuals and things, but he was more diplomatic. He was more diplomatic in talking to them, right? He was a little more diplomatic in talking to them than I would be. Because these people have done critical damage to the black community. I mean, as a collective, as a global family. I'm talking from your MLKs to your Nelson Mandela and to the young new boot-licking agents put in there like Julius Malema or a Bobby Wine in Uganda, which we had the privilege to interview because back then we were much bigger and our footprint was getting known in Africa at that time. Which they now decide to take down. Can you guys hear me good? Say something, so.
Say something, Zoe.
All right, so now, let me know if you guys can hear Zoe all right. Say something again, Zoe.
Say something, Zoe. Can you hear me now?
All right. Value so high, we saw that static for the other channels. But like I said, we've had a problem with bringing sleeper agents amongst us, right? Giving us heroes that no one ever reverse engineered. Now, I'm going to start off with our hero here first, which is MLK. So when I used to always bring up MLK in polite society, people would get upset. But I only wanted to know, if this dream was so great, what fruit did it ever bear? And you got all these other fake Negroes who supposedly do research. I'm not going to call no names. We know the usual suspects. All these FDA Negroes and supposedly black first, which I am black first, because that's why I reverse engineer everything and everybody. So I need to know where you came from, who sent you amongst us to do damage to us as a people. Because if you've done more damage than good, then that means something was wrong and we can't be celebrating you. And then if the white media, which we know has always been used to destroy black people from within and from without, right? From within and from without. From within and from without. There's a trick bag in there somewhere where black people are not doing their due diligence to go back and reverse engineer and say, hey, something's not adding up. There's some dirty soap in this goddamn bag. Right? So I'm going to be sharing the video that the brother just did here recently. I give the brother credit with his due diligence and his research. When I brought this up, I told you guys I would give you guys a link to go research this. Now, recently here, because through all the iterations of channels going down, I haven't redone all the research. I've gone through and get all this stuff again because it's painstaking. I know it in my head. You say, where's the proof? Where's this? I'll start putting that scholarly work back together again. But as I told you in the beginning, Dr. Martin Luther King came from nowhere. No one knew this dude. And I told you that the black business owners came to him and asked him. I showed you where they documented in the news that they had a sit-down meeting with this individual, say, please do not go along with this integration. You will destroy us financially. But the individual keeps, these other non-honest actors, I'm going to call them, always want to tell you about the righteous shit he did after he came to his senses when they were about to kill him. All this idiotic, nonsense. Chill trying to put, shine on shit. The reason why we're in the economic doldrum that we're in today is because of that NAACP fake movement. Now, like I said, your enemies cannot give you heroes nor institutions. So we're going to talk about the NAACP and segue that into the new fake movement that their media is talking about and giving it what credibility. Black Lives Matter has nothing to do with black people. Nothing to do with it. Black Lives Matter is another Zionist front organization with a fake black name, showing the same iconography, the black power fist, because they still think you're stupid, idiot. The black power fist, Black Lives Matter, the fake iconography. Trying to grab itself onto real grassroots movement of black power. Again, now when they start this fake ass NAACP, they don't even try to remember, because always it said, because back then we didn't like to call ourselves black. We had certain stigmas that we did not like to call ourselves black. Right? That was stigma. So we called ourselves colored people. But we know it meant black people. Now today, NAACP tells you clearly, this is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. That's all people of color. Right? East Indians, Mexicans, Guatemalans, naked black bums from Panama. Because that dog don't hunt anymore, so they do a new copy and paste. So they build out a new fake organization and start giving it all credibility in their news media. Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. That's all you keep hearing. All in their news media. Giving it credibility amongst black people, and black people never built it, never designed it, never funded anything to do with it. But all the so-called liberals talking about defending it, and all the so-called fake conservatives are hatred against it. And it's given credibility by the same people that created the NAACP and the Urban League. A trick bag. So, a trick bag to put you back in, right? So, what am I going to do? I'm going to clearly show you, they do the same thing in black society everywhere on the planet, where they're trying to keep black power down and make sure they got right rule and control of the economic system to oppress black people. 30 years ago, they had you all screaming about Nelson Mandela's been freed. Nelson Mandela's been freed from prison and blah, 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 blah. But the conditions on the ground for black people have not changed. They've even gotten worse since he was supposedly free, which he was never on no Robben Island, no 27 years. That's another lie. It's another trick bag, they tell you. He was being groomed for power by the same Zionists who controlled America and also controlled South Africa. Your Oppenheimers, your De Beers, the funny, same Ashkenazim once again. Also to promote that those perverted things of division, the homosexual, the transgender, all that shit is prevalent in South Africa. It's running rampant. It's actually worse there than it is here, you get it? Because they had their black flunky issue these perversions in, called Nelson Mandela. You go to South Africa to blow your mind. See, worse than America. You say, how can anything be worse than America? Take your ass to South Africa. Like I told, we got the other channel taken down. When the other channel was taken down, we had Thoth go to South Africa, and then sister by the name of called herself Thoth, right? She went to South Africa, then Tanzania, Zanzibar last year. She had to wait for us, but she was so excited about going. She was going on. And I told her this festival that she was going to be attending in South Africa was going to be full of, dare I say, homosexuals and lesbians. And she was going to be approached. So when she got back from South Africa and Tanzania, she was mad about going to South Africa because she was being almost raped at this whatever music festival she was attending in South Africa because the homosexuality in South Africa is running rampant. That's not African culture, it's not African people. But when Europeans have power, that's what they implement. And so they use their puppet, Nelson Mandela, to promote these perversions throughout South Africa. See, they can do these perversions and still stay in poverty. So that's why you see here today, once you understand the caveat, follow me, always reverse engineer, understand what you're seeing is the same everywhere. Copy and paste what they do. Copy and paste. Now, unbeknownst to us, our civil rights movement was mired in homosexuality. We didn't know that. We know John Lewis, Bayard Rustin, and all these other individuals were closeted homosexuals, closeted freaks. But the majority of them were. They knew that. And the NAACP knew that. Because they the ones funded and started this fake movement. Now, years today, we still went around talking about Rosa Parks. Oh, she was tired and got on the bus and wouldn't give up her seat. That is a known lie. I said that years ago. That's a lie. She wouldn't come from no work and all tired, wouldn't give up her seat. and all this idiotic nonsense you've been given through that fake history once again. Obfuscate history to destroy you. That started that fake Selma boycott. I told you walk around on fucked up feet for a year. That was supposed to be a benefit for you. That you struggled together and got Mr. Charlie allow you to get on his bus at a much higher fare a year later. That was a benefit for you, right? That was a benefit for you. But your dignity is always in ownership. See, I always give you symbol. See, this is where you get the beginning of all this fake symbolism. Symbolic victories. Symbolic victories all you're allowed to get. And that's why they always prop them up in their media. That's why they always prop these nothing movements up in their media, because it does no harm and it doesn't take away from white power. There's no threat. There's no benefit for you economically while you're going to start being destroyed and dismantled. Economically, you're going to start, this is the beginning of you being dismantled, right? I want you to understand that. This is the beginning of you being economically dismantled. But the brilliant part about it, yeah, what's going on, Zoe?
Yeah, I lost network. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, you better now.
Okay.
So we were in the midst of being economically dismantled. They gave you a false history of this Rosa Parks thing. And I said that years ago. That was a plan by the NAACP. Wasn't that she was tired and all this other goofy shit. That was in them go in to disrupt the bus system. So they would start this bus boycott, right? Then also bring MLK to prominence because he was the young preacher that they put over this. So it served their purposes to give him some visibility. So because black people didn't know who the hell he was. So this is going to give him some visibility and still build the building blocks of destroying us economically. While we cheered for, yay, yay. And then also bringing these perversions into black society where now I don't know if it's almost 50-50, but it's close. It may be 55 against 45 for, or maybe I'm wrong, but it's close. They've never been this close where black people accepted perversions, not bestiality. You know, we don't have sex with dolphins and catfish, and like I showed you that orangutan. We don't do that. We don't practice none of these perversions. We don't have sex with children and call it normal. So it's just I don't even know the name that they call it, because that's what they're trying to normalize. California just made it normal for you to have sex with a child on the books. That's a fact, right? So what they would do would drop these handkerchief head Negroes that they've already groomed. We know about the Boule class. And as you go back, as I start reverse engineering MLK's history, is the history of Boule sellouts. From him, his daddy, his whole family. You think now, like I said, you can't, his whole family is a sellout, bunch of coons and sellouts. The children are. But see, they want you to have you believe, which is, you know, which would be intellectually disingenuous to believe he was the only righteous one amongst these coons and sellouts around him. It's just not possible. Birds of a feather stick together. But I want to play this. I'm going to go play a little bit of this brother's video, then I'm going to come back and see what I got to say. How they put these people amongst us to do their bidding, and black people are not smart enough to understand that these people came amongst us to destroy us. And now they got their new batch of coon and sell out as Bobby Wine over there in Uganda that we had the benefit of interviewing, who ran for the presidency. Did he win? Yeah, most likely he's really the president of Uganda. Yeah. Is the other one Museveni Akuna sellout? Yes. Yes. They put him in power, him and Kagame, so they could go down into the Congo, which they do together. Remember, Kagame is an acolyte of Museveni. They go into the Congo for the Europeans and steal all the coltan, cobalt out of there and give to the Europeans. You get that? At a reduced, cheap price. Where there is no coltan or cobalt in Uganda. There's no coltan or cobalt in Rwanda. It's only in the Congo. And these two individuals are the number 1 and 2 distributors of coltan and cobalt on the planet. So they do the bidding of the European. So is Museveni a puppet? Yes, but he's an old coon puppet. And they want to replace his ass with the new up-and-coming puppet, Bobby Wine. The people don't know that. They know they're tired of Museveni. He's been there for damn near 40 years. They want to overthrow him, but not realizing that you just the new boss is same as the old boss. He's just young. And the Ugandan people have no understanding that he's another bought and paid for tool of white supremacy. Just like Julius Malema down there in South Africa. As I said for years, said he's bought and paid for by white people. The EFF is nothing more than another copy and paste. They know people get riled up in South Africa being impoverished for 30 years after the Nelson Mandela lie. We're going to let John Henry Clark talk about that as well. Bring that out. When he called out all these fake phonies and frauds. From Farrakhan, which I said years ago, don't care, gets mad, so what? Agent ass Negro. There to make sure you stay in the same idiotic, perpetual state of doing nothing. And to have the courage back 30 years to call out Nelson Mandela as well. When everybody was all in love with it and the white media was propping up great Nelson Mandela. And it's funny, as soon as he got out of prison, he got rid of what? The real warrior queen, Winnie Mandela. He got rid of her ass. Who stood by his side the 27 years. He was never in jail for all those years. But let's go by what they said. Woman who stood by this man and she got ridiculed, persecuted for the 27 years he was supposedly in this prison. Right? So he comes out, first thing he does by showing her, her being loyal to his no good ass, he divorces her with the promptness. Ain't it funny? He divorces her with the promptness because she was the real thing and he was not. He was nothing more than a European puppet. You were given the same idiotic shit you gave in America, reconciliation and love your enemy shit. Same thing these bootlicking coons are saying today that are propped there in front of you. To give to give them hugs and never get any economic benefit. So you got black people mired in poverty after the 30 years of Nelson Mandela being freed of. Silly ass symbolism. But I'm gonna go ahead and play this video, and I agree with most of what the brother's work has shown in the video. Clearly, right? Because they want to tell you that all these are lies. When I went back and reverse engineered Dr. King, his whole life was a lie. How his dissertation was forged. These other fake D1 niggas want to tell me, oh, these are lies by the FBI. There ain't no damn lies by no fucking FBI. You can go and do your own damn research. You can research how the black business owners came to him and say, don't do the integration thing. Who's telling you to do this? How's this benefiting us? That's what they asked. They said you would destroy us economically. Obviously, they were right. They want to tell you about the goofy I Have a Dream speech. That wasn't real. Oh, he wrote it on the fly, tore up his speech, and then wrote it. He didn't write that shit at all. He was Oscar Nazim sitting behind him who wrote that stupid ass speech.
And another thing too, Keith, in the same vein of saying that they can't give you, the enemy can't give you your heroes, we have to actually critically think about the ones that they present us with every Black History Month. Every year, since I can remember, we hear the same names over and over and over. And if you didn't know any better, you wouldn't know that it was a black man that invented the modern toilet, or a black man that created all of the railroad devices for safety, and all of the thousands of things that black people have created that we don't get credited for. So you would just think of, exactly, you would just think about Martin Luther King, and they don't even tell you about how they castrated George Washington Carver. They'll tell you about how these old nice white people took him in as an infant, as an orphan, and they were nice enough to raise him in their own family, in their own house, but they never tell you how they was worried that he was going to sleep with their daughter, so they castrated him when he was a baby. They don't tell you that. And that's why George Washington Carver's voice was so high-pitched.
He was castrated as a child when the white people adopted him in Iowa.
Yep.
Yeah, so, they'll never tell you that he was castrated. And he never really cared about black people because he always was scared. All of his inventions, George Washington Carver, all his inventions were worth billions of dollars. Plastics, all this stuff that he created, the plants, worth billions of dollars, but only been in white society. It never benefited black people because he was too damaged. They don't want to tell that part, he was too damaged, right? Sadly enough. They always give you the Frederick Douglass shit. But you got to go back and reverse Frederick Douglass. When I get mad about reverse engineering this dude, they get mad. And this other goopy nut talking about making Frederick Douglass school. I don't care if you, if you are related to a sellout ass, good for you. Understand, they brought you Frederick Douglass, who had Martin Delany back then, told you we were ready to go to war and free black people in 1850. I want you to go back and research this. 1850, black people already had the power because I told you we were already fighting throughout the South, East, with the Geechee Gullahs and the Black Seminoles. We were already winning and ready to go to war. And we were going to free the rest of the slaves in 1850, 10 years before the beginning of the Civil War. No, was it? I think it might have been 1840. I think it was even 1840. I might have got my years wrong. I think it was 1840, not 1840. Black people were going to go to war and free all the slaves. And guess who they brought down there to stop them? Frederick Douglass ass. Oh no, we better not go. That might not be the time. He was as the white apologist, sitting there, his mulatto ass. We never forget that Frederick Douglass was a mulatto. They was going to throw that out. I told you about the bastards of history. That's why they prop his ass up and keep giving it to you. In 1840, you had a delegation of black men who were ready to go to war and free every slave on this goddamn wicked ass country. Every slave was going to be freed. And they didn't have the manpower to stop us from doing it. But they brought in their Asian ass nigga, this half-breed, this mulatto sellout that they got us worshiping because they don't never tell you about this fake Negro, this half-Negro's true past. So they parachute this fake ass leader, his great speeches, all that old idiotic ass shit. So they bring his no good coon ass up in there to quiet the Negroes down. Same thing they've been doing forever. They bring their agent in there. It's not time yet. It's not time to fight. We must try to work it out. While everybody's still in wicked ass slavery, they must wait. They've been raped, beat, killed, families broke apart, sold here, sold there. Your daughter, black men were ready to go to war then. Had the numbers, they were already winning throughout the South. They could have freed them then. 1840. But they brought their bootleg who we worship today, Frank Frederick Douglass, in there. I bid you good day, good black people. It may be not time. We need to have more time to work with the white man as he beats and rapes and kills you, separates your family. We must have more time to try to appease to his better nature. He's like, what? What are you talking about? We're being raped, brutalized, murdered, killed. But since they had exalted this Negro up, people listened to him barely. Because the thing goes, they're about to get rid, they're about to kill his ass. But since they had already propped him up, gave him some credibility, that's what they do. Isn't it funny? So true to form, he ended up with a white woman at the end of his life. And people will never, they never want to own up to that. That Frederick Douglass is great purveyor of black justice, end up with a white woman. The history of his life is a goddamn lie. He's no hero for black people. Look how many goofy speeches he's made. And so when we got to tear down these fake images, other people get hurt because we, as Zoe said, we've been indoctrinated to black history and the fake history getting school. We've been indoctrinated to love our sellouts and the people that have done damage to us as people. Remember, these are the ones they celebrate, not the real people that have tried to advance black independence and black power. They never get mentioned. You have to accidentally stumble upon these people through history. Oh, dang. I didn't know about him. Why I ain't never know about him? Because he was real. That's why. You know, they'll keep telling you about Nelson Mandela in South Africa. They need to be telling you about Stephen Biko. He was a real revolutionary fighter. That's why they put a bullet in his head. He didn't get a chance to go to prison and sit there. They put a bullet in his head, threw him in a shallow grave. Because he was the real thing. They know the real thing from the scam they give to us. The real ones get murdered. Okay? Now let me see. Let me cue this video up. Go ahead, so you want to say anything? When I get started with this thing.
Well, I know you said you was gonna talk about the NAACP also. I'm gonna just wait for that before you start talking about them.
Frederick Douglass. Douglass is citizens. They are white. Go figure. I never even. Most of Frederick Douglass' descendants are white. Is that true? You're probably not lying. You're probably not lying, Byron. That wouldn't surprise me one iota. But
This is Michael Douglas and Kirk Douglas. Them descendants of Frederick Douglass.
know if you guys can hear this all right. I said that too. I said that too about the dissertation.
An inexperienced but determined Dr. King discussed the aims of the boycott in his first filmed interview. That the seating arrangement would be changed to a first come, first served basis. The Negro passengers would seat from the rear to the front of the bus and the white passengers from the front to the rear, with no reserved seats for any race. The Negro bus drivers would be employed, particularly on predominantly the Negro lines. Decided not to ride the buses in Montgomery until we receive some justice and until we get a hearing, even if it takes a year.
Now, what you guys remember that black people owned their own buses, owned their own cabs, owned everything. So, what no benefit for them riding in the front of a bus that you did not own? Where was the damn victory for black people? But you've been giving this nonsense over and over for the last 60 years, while you slowly destroyed your own transportation systems throughout the country. You own bus companies. You own taxi cab companies. You own them. So you were economically able to sustain yourself and your community. You riding on Mr. Charlie's bus, as you ride along on the bus, the scenery is still the same whether you're in the front or the back. There's no dignity in that. The dignity is an ownership, and that's what you're crying about today. But you had ownership. And the dirty little secret that I showed you guys years ago, the CIA is behind this shit and the FBI, because there was a little document that came out that showed we got to destroy black people now. Because if we don't destroy them before they get to the 1970s, they would be too economically strong to destroy them. We must do it now. By the 70s, integration was going to happen naturally anyway. They couldn't keep you separated, but you would have went into your own integration of white people coming to you, and you would have had your economic base intact. You would have had your economic base intact. That's why this was put forward to you. They know you suffer from self-hate. And that's why all the black business owners, when they went to this cat, say, please don't do this. You will destroy us economically. We will be devastated. And were they right or wrong? We don't own anything now. We owned everything then. Everything we owned in the black community, because we couldn't go nowhere else. So we had ownership. And at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about now. We don't have ownership in society at all. The government comes in and put everybody over black people, gives them ownership in our community. See, you have no Arabs or East Indians owning thing in the black community. We own those stores. So we had economic wherewithal back then. So any idiot tells you the benefit of this civil rights movement benefited black people is either fucking stupid or clearly insane.
Gee,
Go ahead, sir.
I just wanted to address something right quick in the chat room. It's it's some silly people in this world. All they do is serve to distract. So we trying to come together. We trying to build on knowledge and understanding so we can move in the right direction moving forward. To this all facts fella in the chat room, we not speaking strategy, homeboy or homegirl, whatever you are. All we talking about is knowledge right here. So we not silly enough to speak about strategy on the enemy's platform. We not speaking strategy. If we gonna speak that, we speak that person to person in real life. So all we talking about now is the nonsense that's been going on for too long, and that's been putting a blindfold over our people's eyes, so that they can't even think about strategy because they too busy loving the enemy. That's the problem.
Exactly. Exactly. Say, well, I love the way this brother went back to Billy Graham because I brought that up too. He was inspired by Billy Graham and Gandhi. All these racist ass bastards. Billy Graham is a known racist, always was a known racist. Talking to Jizo and all these funny these evangelists, always racist as shit with their Jesus talk. And sorry, black people have gone too long for this Jesus scam. Listen to all these racists, just like the 700 Club with that old racist Pat Robinson, right? But they'll tell you that they were influenced by Billy Graham. Exactly. I'm glad the brother made the distinction. Why would they be influenced and have reverence for Billy Graham, this known no good racist? He never had anything good to say about black people or form. They trying to rewrite history as they do, obfuscate this man's history and his past. Man was racist as shit to the damn day he died. But they always held him in reverence because he's supposed to be some fake evangelist preaching this white Jesus fake ass savior shit to black people. I told you, there's no white God now, never, or before. Ever. You live in a solar system. Keyword being solar. There's no white man create a solar system where he cannot function in naturally. Okay? So everything they talk about a white God is a goddamn lie. You jettison that shit out your mind.
Not that that makes any sense. Billy Graham, who started his crusades in 1947, he invented the CIA. Just a coincidence, no. We were told Billy Graham befriended MLK after he attended one of Graham's crusades in New York in 1957. That doesn't really fit what we were taught about MLK, does it? MLK was supposed to be very progressive. Was Graham progressive? Graham attended Bob Jones University. It was founded by a guy who never attended college and was opened in Panama City, Florida, with 88 students. Can you say another CIA production? Panama City is the home of Tyndall Air Force Base, which includes naval support activity. Other than that, there is no reason for Jones to have opened a school there. He had no prior connections to Florida, according to his bio. Bob Jones University moved to Greenville, South Carolina in 1947. Note the date. Conveniently, Donaldson Air Force Base is just south of Greenville. Bob Jones University did not admit blacks until 1975, and then began admitting them only because the IRS told them they couldn't keep their taxes.
That's your Olstein. That's right, Don.
That's
your Olstein ass.
Which prohibited racial discrimination in private schools. Although Bob Jones University began admitting black students, they didn't allow them to date whites. The IRS revoked their tax status, and the case went to the Supreme Court under Bob Jones University versus the United States. They lost and had to pay $1 million in back taxes. They kept this interracial dating rule until the year 2000. Do these really seem like the kind of people Martin Luther King would be hanging out with? saying nothing. I would bet not one real black person has ever applied, and the Board of Regents probably has to hire a handful of black actors to pretend to be students. Although they might try to cite Billy Graham as a promoter of civil rights, that was not the case. In the time of MLK, Graham preached to segregated audiences and had no problem with it. If you don't believe me, read the comments of this current preacher, Reverend Shockley. He says, as the high priest of the American civil religion, he, more than any other figure, had the moral authority to usher the nation from its racist past to a new multicultural future. But rather than lead, he made only the most modest accommodations possible for the social change happening all around him. From the very beginning of the civil rights movement, Graham made many disparaging remarks about the marches and sit-ins, and warned against moving too fast. Martin Luther King, who inhibited progress, was seeming to promote it. MLK's project was very different from Graham's on the surface, but its end game was the same, protecting the vested interests of the ruling elite by preventing, stalling, or misdirecting any meaningful change. Just as with Graham, MLK's bio was replete with numerology markers. He gave his first sermon in 1947. Martin Luther King's entire outfit was ghost-driven by ghosts, that is to say, Central Intelligence Agency. Support for that comes from the submission by the editors of the Martin Luther King papers, who said that the failure of MLK's teachers to notice his plagiarism was remarkable. They likely knew the papers were written by the CIA, and so were in no position to downgrade him. The book contains a probiotic strain of Lactobacillus casei Hashimoto. This is also interesting. This has been reprinted by some websites. Previously, we talked about how communism is a fake organization and always has been. I showed
said
this
that.
not to prove Martin Luther King was communist. It's to prove MLK is an intel, not these people via city.
Exactly. That's
They
it.
were faking and controlling the communism project. MLK was faking and
I've been told you guys, that brother at least understood that. I told you communism was a fake organization. It's fake. Created by the capitalists, the Rothschilds, the bankers, who called the boogeyman because they control both sides of an argument. They created communism. They funded it. They funded Frederick Engels and Karl Marx, who came up with the Communist Manifesto, and they proved that, and they took that into Russia to overthrow the Tsar. They controlled the isms, the socialism, the communism. They also supported Mao Zedong. Communism is theirs. It's a fake organization. They come back and scare all white people. Oh, communists, these communists. Where the elite control all of it. They created communism, this false boogeyman.
controlling the civil rights project. Let's just say that the whole civil rights movement was managed. The governors could probably see they had to do something, but rather than let things proceed naturally and risk fast and meaningful change, they took control of events and managed them for the minimal inconvenience to themselves. As usual, they needed to give the appearance of progress, while still the most real progress. It is very easy to see this with those positive, which they pretty much at this stage. For the next big clue, we go to Stanley Levison, MLK's advisor, close friend, and ghostwriter. That information is not
Exactly,
that was
ghostwriter.
from Wikipedia at Stanford. Levison was a Jewish attorney from New York. He went to Columbia at the new school, Northwest Lax. We have seen the new school in many of its hoaxes. It was founded and funded by Hiram Howard, Jewish, and the Rockefeller Foundation, Jewish. It is one of the premier
Exactly,
propaganda
Rockefeller
CIA
Foundation.
candidates in the world, poorly disguised. Levison was a leader of the American Jewish Congress and had also been a leader
Isn't
of
it
the
funny?
Communist Party. He has no genealogy posted.
Now you're getting the same with these people we can't talk about, remember? Told you, who you can't talk about actually runs the damn world. Same individuals that they tell you about the Jewish Ashkenazim also created the Nelson Mandela shit in South Africa. That's a fact. Same people, copy and paste what they do. Have black people run around screaming, hollering about these Martin Luther King, his birthday, he's the king. And all this goofy shit. Let's go back and reverse engineer. You got too many anomalies. You got too many anomalies for everything to be alive. Everything alive. Too many anomalies. And at the end of the day, what is and so what is the end? I mean, not an end game. What's been the overall benefit of the civil rights movement except complete, total economic devastation to black people in this country? Told you Gandhi was his hero. Gandhi, racist ass Gandhi. See, black people didn't know Gandhi was racist. They never reverse engineered him. They were given the same dubious lies about the great Mahatma and all this goofy shit. They didn't know he was a wicked ass racist pedophile. They left that out in his biography. Isn't it funny? Ashkenazi kind of left that out of this wicked ass racist pedophile's biography. They left that out of it.
And see, I was just saying, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, the rice that my mom bought, and most people in the hood, was Mahatma, the same as Gandhi's first name. This is how the brainwashing works, man. They have us completely indoctrinated from the beginning.
They do. That's crazy.
Very much like an agent, and he was probably the head of the CIA at that time of Martin Luther King's writings.
I have a dream speech, and I said that. I said it for years about the I Have a Dream speech. Sorry about brother only didn't talk about the black brother got called in.
So keep this Dan.
Okay, Dan, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. I hope I interrupted your broadcast or whatever, man.
You good? We live? What's up?
Oh, okay, man. Hey, so you got the video I sent you about Martin Luther King?
Yeah, that's what I'm playing now.
Okay, yeah, I like that one because like it goes in depth about Martin Luther King and like all the fuckery he was involved with.
Where it goes in depth, the only thing the brother didn't bring up was like the businessmen I talked about. So I give him credit. He went this deep. I had already talked about all this and put it into chronological order years ago. But those channels are gone.
Well, see, the whole thing with the government, because these Jewish motherfuckers control the CIA, and the whole thing.
They created the CIA.
Right.
Like the
But see, the whole thing was, you know what I'm saying, to keep a Messiah from rising within the black community, and see the whole thing, and see it like that same brother, like he also deals with like Tupac and how Tupac was an agent, like. Come to find out, like Tupac Amir Shakur, that's not even his real name. Like I think his mother's name was Lassane Crooks, and I forgot his name. He was also Crooks. But now, if you go back, and that's also a fake name too. Like nobody really knows his family's real name. So like,
but they always drop these agents amongst black people and then give them credibility, and black people don't never reverse engineers. Now that we are doing it now. So there is an awakening coming up, Dan. So I'm glad the brother brought it to me, Dan, and that's what I'm talking about. There is an awakening.
But see, but I go ahead, Dan. I give these motherfuckers credit though. They do a damn good job because hell, Tupac had me fooled. Like I thought he was really against the system. Like I ain't gonna lie, for years I've been buying into that shit. Until like I seen the videos that the brother was doing, and I really sat down and thought about it. Because he made a point. Okay, if Tupac's family was nothing but revolutionaries and Black Panthers, that means Tupac was already woke. So how do you go from a period of being woke to back sleep and then woke again? It don't work that way. Once you woke, you stay woke.
All the disturbing music you put out to destroy it. Some of that shit.
Yeah,
but
right.
I didn't look at the brother's video on Tupac. Go ahead, though.
No, but in addition to what you're saying, Dan, anybody that we see on TV or we hear on the radio, they've all been compromised. They won't even make it that far if they was on some real righteousness. We don't ever get to righteousness. They find a way to keep them people from ever making it.
Hip hop in its inception back in the '80s was funded by the CIA. You know what I'm saying? And see, you got to understand something. These people are years ahead of us. So, like, they knew NWA. They was going to bring out an NWA at some point. So they started off with the conscious music to get you wrapped into it, and then they introduced the NWA. And you know what I'm saying, to like kind of subvert you and move you into the wrong direction. Now, at the same time, all these major record heads, they also are big owners in private prisons. Because all that shit went hand in hand, like with the privatization in prisons, Joe Biden and his 3 strikes law, and then, you know what I'm saying, the gangsterism in the music.
Hold on, Dan. Let me finish up this brother's video. Stay there.
Okay.
Stay there.
All right.
You've been good, Dan, right? You ain't been knocking nobody out, right? You're okay. You've been good, right? You've been knocking nobody out.
Man. No, not really, man. Shit, I had a few.
All right. All right, cool.
You don't understand why it's fake. It may be hard to understand how, but let's try to make sense of all of it. Because fake is irrelevant to other relax. This is what will happen to you if you push for real change. Some dopey white guy will shoot you when you are paying attention. Like most of the other events we have put under a microscope, Tupac, Biggie, Assad, etc., it was staged to create fear. The KKK was invented for the same purpose. Intelligence discovered long ago that a fake event would be a real event every time. In this way, they could create all the fear without any risk to themselves. You can't be prosecuted for a fake crime, can you? You can't be prosecuted for a fake beating, or a fake lynching. But the fakes create the same fear and chaos as the real one. It is all part of Operation Chaos. Let's move on to the fake. It is said that Martin Luther King's final trip to Memphis spanned 32 hours from April 3rd to 4th. So let's deconstruct what they reconstructed. I've come to the conclusion the alleged incident did not take place on the day or time they claim. Pay attention to the footage. The footage show is 2 different days pieced together. Notice Jesse Jackson's shirt change.
Known agent.
And they cut the camera just as he walked.
Unless you're an idiot, I think everybody knows Jesse Jackson is a known agent. Unless you're some kind of an idiot.
See Jesse Jackson in 2 different shirts. The problem is that the day before Martin Luther King's fake death, Jesse wore the same shirt on the left. Yet on the day of the fake assassination, Jesse Jackson was seen in the same shirt. All they did was change the jacket. The slight color difference is due to the color edit, but it's definitely the same shirt. Jesse Jackson was one of the puppets that would be in the spotlight during this news, so they needed to change something. Here's Jesse Jackson in Martin Luther King's last speech, the day before the alleged assassination. Say he changed, but what about the guy in the corner? He's wearing the same outfit for both of Jesse Jackson's outfits. I guess they thought no one would pay attention to him. point is, it's all a stage play. They probably recorded this scene multiple times. I doubt if the shooting took place at the time they played it. It also makes no sense. We were told MLK always stayed in room 306 at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis. Wikipedia said it was known as the King Abernathy Suite. That contradicts earlier parts of the history, where it is admitted the king was known to be a target. He had allegedly survived previous assassination attempts. Given that, it would be the height of stupidity to stay in the same room at the same hotel that often. It reaches all the rules of security. You might as well call the hitman in advance. His murdering on the balcony is also against all rules of security. Another thing that indicates that this was a military operation is that he was allegedly shot at 6:01 p.m. Doping criminals who leave their rifles in plain sight after an order aren't normally that punctual, but military intelligence is. The military does things by the clock. The motel owner's brother Patrice Bailey seems to be trying to scoop Martin Luther King from the ground into a jar. He's also military. Which brings us to this doesn't look like real blood. In fact, it looks too fake. It resembles painted fake blood used in movies during the 1960s. Alfred Hitchcock used chocolate syrup as fake blood in his 1960 thriller Psycho. Since the film was in black and white, the color was less important than the consistency. The movie Bloodbath 1966 also seems to use a thick form of liquid ink. Look at the feeling of this language. It looks horrible. The viscosity, the textures are bright, too neat. It looks like this fake blood in the picture. They also said the police were there in a matter of seconds.
Coming this way, asking us what happened.
Just that quick.
Just that quick, yeah. In a matter of seconds.
So having so much pour out to the left side of his body, to me, it appears as if they poured the liquid on the cement first, and Martin Luther King laid on the ground. I always wondered why Martin Luther King had this light mark on the side of his face in one of his last photos. It's in the same location they claimed it was. Google this image, you will see the same light mark on all photos of this exact image. Maybe it was just a signal so that everyone around knew where the impact was supposed to be. I'm sure they recorded the entire thing. It's simply stored away in the CIA locked archives. Amazingly, the steam dried leaving no trace in a matter of hours. Though they said the cleanup guy was scooping his to put it in a jar. Maybe the was actually clay. Honestly, I wouldn't doubt it. Martin Luther King's figure was released in black and white, no cell phones. Not everyone running to the crime scene with handheld cameras. The government could get away with anything they wanted by way of radio and TV. This was taken by Joseph Loud before Ray had even left the premises. Loud was there so fast because he had stayed 3 doors down. Loud was a photographer and filmmaker working on a documentary about King, and he just happened to be there ready to roll. That photo was probably a paid study. Why? Well, study the people on the ground. They don't seem too concerned, do they? You have a dying man above them bleeding to death by a high-caliber rifle, and at least 6 people screaming and pointing. But the people on the ground are just continuing their casual conversations. Look at the group of maids over there having a smoke, totally unaware of the scene around them. So it may interest you to know that this Joseph Loud rushed to the studio by a fellow King photographer, Ernest Withers, to develop his 4 ways of film. Withers was at the Lorraine with Loud, and as one of those going in and out of room 306, Withers was posthumously outed as an FBI informant. The mainstream media tried to spin that revelation in 2008, claiming Withers was a spy against King. But of course, the better explanation is that all these people were FBI or CIA, including King. The whole event was a project. There were no shoots from everywhere.
The code contains a probiotic strain Lactobacillus casei shibata. getting out, getting ready to go to dinner. He was going to my house for dinner, as a matter of fact. And as he was going to my house for dinner, as a matter of fact. And as he came out about 3 minutes after he'd come out, the shot rang out. As he came out the door, and then we heard I had left him and started across under a hit of faith. Found out to the bottom of our loud firecracker instead of our head because we did not hear the shots. We just saw the smoke when it started. Found out to the bottom of our loud firecracker.
Notice how they made sure to mention the Peninsula around. I think they're already introducing the conspiracy. The government.
When I turned all around, we started to share police up on the hill. Yes, we heard the shot definitely. And then we looked in this direction and we saw policemen coming this way, asking us what happened. You know, just that quick, yeah. We heard, we could see the police coming. Police were coming from the direction of the shot.
The elites are decades ahead of us. But let's move on. Let's look into Martin Luther King's James Earl Ray. None of those pictures really match with what we are told about him, do they? In the first, they have given him an army cut to look like a hippie. It doesn't really work. He still looks way too intelligent to be who we are told he is. In the second, he is supposed to have been in jail for many years, but again, the way he looked too clean. In the third, he looks like an accountant. At what point in his life of crime was that supposed to have been taken? Ray's wiki page reads like bad fiction. For instance, he was supposed to have escaped from the maximum security prison in Missouri in 1967 by hiding in a bread truck leaving the prison bakery. But he was believed to have been sentenced to 4 years at Leavenworth for stealing money orders and handling. The only thing I believe on the whole page is that he was in the army. I would have guessed that or Navy. I doubt he ever left it. He looks like military intelligence. James Earl Ray had a second alias, which he allegedly gave to the guy who bought his Game Master rifle from in Birmingham, Harvey Bowler. Ask yourself this: why would you come up with a Jewish name? If you were creating aliases, would you create a Jewish one? Do you really think this Irish Catholic would come up with a Jewish alias? After the alleged Ray dumped his rifle and binoculars near the murder site without even bothering to bury them. He also didn't bother to write them down. They had his fingerprints all over them. He then fled guilty. This doesn't happen. It also conflicts with the prior story, since we are supposed to believe Ray was smart and clever enough to escape the maximum security penitentiary and avoid capture for almost a year, but not smart enough to wear gloves, write fingerprints, or hide a gun. One minute he is a genius, and the next minute he is innocent. Ray supposedly fled to Canada, obtaining a passport under the fake name Ramon George Snake. He could not have acquired a Canadian passport under a fake name since security is not that slow. He might have manufactured one, but that would make him a genius again, or an agent. William Pepper later proved that the passport was issued by Kennedy Travel Bureau in Toronto. Of course, it was. He somehow got a flight to England using this fake passport, which is highly unlikely. He then tried to use the fake passport again at Heathrow, making him an imbecile once more. Once in England, he could get anywhere in Europe easily by boat or train, so there was no reason to keep risking the fake passport. At Heathrow, we were told the ticket agent flagged the name on the passport since the name Snake was on the Canadian police watch list. Why would it be on the watch list? How could the police have known he faked a passport under the name Snake? Were they filming him when he created it? We would have to believe another man named Snake just happened to be on the Canadian watch list. Do you know the odds against that? Snake is a very rare name, which means there were only a handful in Canada in 1968. The odds against Ray making up a very rare name Snake and it being on the watch list are astronomical. Your Attorney General Jim Ray's attorney Cruciform recommended he plead guilty to avoid a possible death penalty. Great attorney. Sir Ray is now in embassy again, not realizing immediately he needed an attorney he thought he could get enough. You don't need an attorney to tell you to plead guilty. Plus, the story again contradicts itself. If we go to Furman's wiki page, we are told he lost only 53 of 1,500 death penalty cases. With a record like that, he should have been more confident, but that makes no sense. 1,500 death penalty cases. How old was Furman in 1969? He must have been 300. No, he was 67, so he should have been retired. But says he worked as a defense attorney for 35 years. That would be 43 death penalty cases a year, every year. That's about 1 a week every week for 35 years. Absurd.
Everybody really feels it all over the nation, and I really don't think that it was necessary. Because now, in my opinion, it's going to provoke more violence. I think all this rioting and so forth is really nonsense. But I was really shocked about Martin Luther King. He wanted this 9,000 and so forth, but the people more or less just went out and rebelled against it because it was a real big blow, in my opinion, to the entire nation.
The never-desired outcome of this fake assassination was race wars, which they came near achieving back then than they do now. Although they are still at it, some shake their heads, but no one even thinks of starting a race war. So all we see is the news writers writing for one another. They are hired to supply the required outrage. They create the event, and then create the response, so it is okay if you sleep through it. It doesn't matter anymore.
Daily dialectic.
They have been faking these things to keep your eyes off the real events. Anything to keep them from realizing the bankers, the military, and intelligence are just three big money pits, siphoning money directly out of the treasuries, and giving you absolutely nothing in return.
Exactly.
We can now add science to that list since it has become the third largest con job. And all the summer, took an oath to lie to us. Martin Luther King predicted his own death in his last speech at the Mason Temple.
Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now. Because I've been to the mountaintop. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up the mountain. And I've looked over. And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with it. So I'm happy to say I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing anything. My eyes have seen the glory.
As they elected James Douglas, the officer gave the oath in South Carolina. Martin Luther King depicted James Douglas on the stage quickly.
Did you kill my father?
No, I didn't. Look at the headshot. The side. They are now. Martin Luther King never died on April 4th. I'd say that's why they're all filled with deep intellect during their interview after the fake assassination.
I want to be in a picture like my father.
You did. And this is one of them.
Mommy, I'm not going to cry because my dad is not dead in any dead physically. And one day, I'll see him.
But how can we explain the body? We saw the funeral. We saw the opening. YouTube slowly taking away freedom of speech, partly because of channels like mine. I will not show much of it. Let's just say, most of the funeral pictures, they sure were filled with the people who were at the fake were those close to him. I would not doubt that they took a set of pictures privately and prior to the funeral. They could have used the real Martin Luther King to make their while the photographer takes the pictures. The public viewing, they could have used a wax bottle enclosed behind the glass. Maybe that explains why they kept switching. Some rare pictures of MLK behind the glass look as if it could be a fake. I can't show much of it. However they proved along was genius. We only saw the public crime, where Martin Luther King's close friends and immediate family kept smiles and dry eyes, no tears. We have all been fooled by our leaders and heroes. None of them are who we thought they were. They are all actors sent in to control us. In the case of civil rights, we have been controlled to celebrate progress in this industry.
Exactly.
We are assured things are getting better as they stay the same.
Same
We
word.
have had some meaningless advances,
Thank
but all meaningful change is denied us. This applies equally to men and women.
I'm glad the brother's saying it, and that's what it's meant to do all globally around any kind of black society, wherever you go. It's meant to give the illusion of something's changing when nothing changed. Everything stays the same or get worse. In our situation, things have gotten worse than when we were in Jim Crow. That's a fact. We own nothing. We control nothing, not even our own neighborhoods. They move these illegal aliens, whether they be Arab, East Indians, okay, they give them citizenship, or the Mexican or Hispanic, in our community, set them up in business. We make them rich from the same businesses that we used to own and control. So we had a sense of controlling our own destiny, right? But we don't anymore. But we celebrate the same goofy symbolism that destroyed us from within. Let me let this brother finish up. We'll continue.
When I see people like Oprah and Tyler Perry getting rich, I think that things are changing. We saw Obama become president and think things are changing. But those are just sweet pacifiers. They're meaningless since those people are just actors. They are puppets on the stage, dangled to divert you. They apparently named the holiday after the wrong guy. They should have picked a real black leader, not this actor who did nothing for civil rights, but sullied it and misdirected it. It was the same with Rosa Parks.
Rosa Parks.
She was a fucked-up white creation actor.
Exactly.
And her promotion is unrecoverable. The truth is always.
I'm glad, and I was the only one out there telling about Rosa Parks for years. I'm glad this brother even brought her into it. Like I said, I'm glad he brought her up. Whole Rosa Parks story is fraudulent. They got black people tripping over themselves to give this fraudulent broad all these accolations when it was meant to destroy us. She was an actress, all this goofy shit. Oh, I had my bags and I was tired, sat down on the bus, and I refused to move. Oh, idiotic nonsense they've given black people. Nothing but dubious ass lies. And we've been celebrating these lies which have destroyed us. We've been celebrating these people. Who gave her a award? Didn't NAACP gave her like a National Image Award or before she died a Lifetime Achievement Award? Because they the ones implemented the bullshit. Because the NAACP was started by those people. Started the CIA. Those people who copy and paste everything and bring you your fake heroes. Since they own the media, they prop them up, give them credibility. And we've been worshiping this goddamn Rosa Parks for years. For years. This dubious ass broad.
That is the stage. Why have civil rights led by these three first whites pretending to be black? I guess it was meant for the whitest blacks only.
All right, let me end that. Shout out to this brother. Good work. Shout out to this brother and his work he's done. Okay, Dan, so you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. That's what's up. Okay, so I also want to mention, like I said, the Mandela and the new ones they putting throughout Africa. They know Africa is the future. They're bringing you Jewish Malina, who's nothing more than a bought and paid for tool of white supremacy, Ashkenazim supremacy, that EFF shit, right? One thing, that's how you know they're true, because they go against all African culture. See, to be part of this too, you must promote and defend transgenderism, transhumanism, and homosexuality. Right? They've already got South Africa. Now they want to bring that in Uganda with Bobby Wine. Now the youth are going crazy for him. Like I said, he most likely won that thing, that election. But let me go and share this. Share this real quick.
Hey, did you hear about that country singer Morgan Wallen? Whalen?
Hey, what now?
This country singer Morgan Whalen. He was caught on film calling somebody a nigger.
The country singer who?
Morgan Whalen.
Okay, I ain't know who Morgan Whalen is.
Yeah, I ain't never heard of him either, but he was, I guess, some up and coming big time country singer, and he got caught calling some black dude a nigger, and he got dropped by all these record labels and stuff. But at the same time, his streaming has now quadrupled.
Oh, there you go. Because they're going to support their people and being on code and their wicked racism against black people. All right? So that's the nature of these people. So it's not about trying to find one good white person that need on a haystack, right? Because the majority, that's their pathology. That's their pathology. That's what it is.
And the real funny thing is, since you was talking about the NAACP, they done went and got a bunch of coons from the NAACP to go and embrace this joker and bring him around a bunch of black people talking about they forgive him for what he did.
Of course. Because the NAACP was not built to represent and benefit in black people's interests. Wasn't designed to do that. Your enemies can't build you a political institution on your behalf that would project black power globally and even in your community. It wasn't designed to do that. It was designed to destroy your internal politics, to keep you confused, to think that something called the NAACP represented you and your interests. It wasn't designed to do that. It wasn't built to do that. It was designed to confuse your internal politics, right? Just like Martin Luther King was used to confuse your internal politics. So I'm gonna segue into this way and play this with us doing an interview 2 years ago with Bobby Wine, who probably most likely won the Ugandan presidency. They said, well, how did we get the interview? Because we were becoming big and we were getting credibility in Africa. So he reached out to us to get this interview. And then I knew we got hacked, and as our web designer said, he said, who are these Ugandans looking at your website? What the hell's going on with Uganda? The brother had me laughing. There's all kind of Ugandan people on this shit that their intelligence agency was trying to take down the website. I was doing an interview with Bobby Wine, reaching out to us to do this interview. Let me play this thing here. But shout out to Maria, our correspondent. She knew it then. He's a tool. Are you sure? I don't know his politics yet. He's a tool. He is a bought and paid for tool of the European. And as I reverse engineer to do say, I don't know if everybody loves him. She is correct. Let me play this thing. So when cats they talked about white supremacists of little note. Oh shit, on people's channel. They talk to white supremacists of little note. We talk to world fucking leaders of real note here on Black Hot Fire before they take us down. We talk to real leaders of real note, not little known white supremacists in goofy movies, right? We talk to real leaders of real note, real world leaders. What we were doing here. So our credibility was built. That's why they always take us down. So this is us being invited into Bobby Wine's home in Uganda to give an interview about what he feels and what he thinks. You know, I didn't know yet that he was that that he's a puppet. I didn't reverse engineer him yet. I always do that. And it was Maria that brought it to my attention. Right. What's going on, Sean? All right, y'all. So, so this us giving an interview, you know, not somebody trying to up some fake white supremacist to a lofty status who has no power, like a Jared Taylor, right? Talking about real leaders that the white establishment is trying to put in leadership of whole damn countries, so to keep their white hegemony going. And like I said, it's sophisticated because there's no doubt that this man won that Ugandan election. There's no doubt that he won it. And it was going to benefit white power. They would get rid of their old bootlicking tool and replace them with the new. That's all they were doing. That's all they were doing.
I'm ready.
What am I welcome about? That Rooster is getting down. rooster in the pot and cook his ass.
So, yes,
So what you understand what they do, he's polished. He's polished, he's loved, he's charismatic. You know, they always bring the black charismatic, polished individual to replace put them into positions of power, build them up. That's what they're doing now with Bobby Wine. And of course, like I said, we were bigger then, so we were giving him a bigger audience. That's why he asked us to interview him, right? So this will give him credibility. And he's also out there promoting in Uganda. I was laughing when the Irritated Genie was over there doing an interview some years ago. He said, hey, man, they're going to bring all this transgender, homosexual, all this stuff over here. The guy on TV said, you're out of your mind. It's Uganda. It's illegal. We don't do that. He said they're going to bring it to your children. They're going to put it in your media. It's coming. So within a few years of Irritated Genie over there giving an interview on TV in Uganda TV, the guy running for president was promoting all these things: transgenderism, homosexuality, lesbian, and all that shit, which is completely antithetical to Ugandan culture. Completely antithetical, but they know they had raised him up his popularity, like Obama, like people that brought you Obama, saying copy and paste. Black people were against these perversions, but they came in, oh, Obama, a black man, president. Didn't identify with being black, never gave a shit about black people, but you were given the dubious distinction of loving this symbolism that your enemy did put before you. They gave you a fake black president, right? Gave you another fake hero who was never your hero. You never vetted this goofball. So he brought you all these perversions. And now you're fighting amongst black people in America. There was never no fight. We never agreed with this. You couldn't go nowhere in the country as a majority of black people accepted it. We had some people in our families, some people did that. Cool, right? Hey, we don't ever hate nobody because we're loving people. But we would never openly accept it. Now, to not accept it, we're now ridiculed, told we're homophobic, and all other idiotic words that mean nothing. Mean nothing. Absolutely nothing. So what they do, they copy and paste. It worked here. So now they're going to parachute another young man called Baba into Africa. Hopefully that translates throughout Africa, right? Because they did it down in Southern Africa where that wasn't the culture. Like I said, you go to South Africa now, it's running rampant with that shit. All on the TV, it's everywhere. And who backs it down there? Their other puppet that they've groomed called Julius Malema. He'll say some righteous shit because black people are stupid. And you won't reverse engineer this dude and understand who had the funding and what does he really represent. They are stopgaps, right? Stop the emotional overflow. You going out there and really doing some real work. It's like Martin Luther King was a stopgap. 60s was a powder keg. You were ready to explode. Knock some people in the goddamn head because some people were. A lot of people went on that MLK shit. But through the media, told you everybody was down with it. Sure, the black people didn't promote none of that at all. But 60 years later, you believe through the media because that's what they had propped up. You have black people putting in real work, as I told you, in white neighborhoods. They meant business. They weren't about nobody marching and doing no old Negro spirituals. Get out of here with that shit. They just wanted to be able to fortify their community. They weren't even really interested in integrating. They want to integrate. They just wanted to have access to the income of their community. They wanted to control the tax base in their community, where their money go. They wanted to fund. They wanted to have complete economic and political power in their own communities. And that's always a threat to white power. Always. So they're going to always parachute a handkerchief head Negro in there and prop them up as a leader. So that's what you see going on now with this Black Lives Matter. But black people finally are too savvy and see it. That's why their media keeps mentioning Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. As if it represents black people when it does not. Black people didn't find it because they got these homosexuals when they find it. They ain't find shit but a name. It's Ashkenazim who put the money behind the name and propped it up within their media to give it some credibility. Same copy and paste thing that they do. But I don't want to play this video for too long. Show that right there. They were grooming him so they could take over Africa. They were grooming the next small elite is what they do. The other old coon is now ineffective. And so they prop up these new leaders. You know, they try to prop up these fake leaders with the Black Lives Matter. But black people were too, politically savvy here and knew the hustle. With the D. Ray McKessons and the rest of these other fruit balls had nothing to do with black people nor black society. But they tried to elevate them as a leader again. Here are black people. These people are your leaders. But now that hustle didn't work anymore. Who the hell are these people? We don't know these people. Well, they're the founders of Black Lives Matter. What the fuck is Black Lives Matter? Well, something that we created and we're now propping up in the media. And so don't you want to be part of it? It's a black organization. Not funded by black people. You know, just like the NAACP and the Urban League. But you're already down with that hustle. That hustle doesn't work no more. So we're going to copy and paste a new fake black institution. Right? For the new youth. Right? For the youth. Go ahead, Zoe. You there, Zoe?
Oh, I'm here. I'm looking at some statistics. Like it just don't really add up to me. So we know that they have an agenda going on with this homosexuality thing that they pushing hard on our community. But when you look at the numbers just don't add up unless you really understand the level and the nature of what they're pushing. So they say here that of all of Americans, approximately 4.5% of Americans, and that's a generous amount, but approximately 4.5%. Exactly. This is from a gay website, so you know they putting extras on it. But just going with their numbers, 4.5%, which is about 11 million people. That's how many identify as LGBT in this country. About 11 million people. Of those 11 million people, now let's just say, even though that's 4.5% of American population, that 11 million represents 100% of LGBT. Of that 100%, which equates 11 million people, only 5% are black. Okay, so 5% of 11 million. Now we know what would that be? If 50% of 11 million will be approximately 5.5, so 10% of that, we're going to say that's 550,000 people. That's less than 1 million people. But yet we get bombarded with gay motherfuckers in every movie, TV show, and everything else. Does that make any sense?
Exactly. It doesn't make any sense because that lets you know that the thing is make sure black people stay on the bottom. Exactly. Why are we giving such representation to a smaller demographics than black people? And their interests must always be met before us. Because the elephant in the room is that they don't want to do nothing for black people. Elephant in the room is to always elevate every people above us. So this is just a new hustle, a new grouping. Legal aliens, another group, and the other Asians or East Indians. Now you got the LGBTQ. And all their issues get addressed before black people whatsoever. It was to make sure you stayed on the bottom by giving you the fake civil rights movement, to destroy you economically, because at the end of the day, it's to slow genocide us. Now, slowly. But that's not working. That's the reason for the COVID pandemic. As Zoe just said, someone just died again from taking it or something, taking the vaccination. So
Well, I sent you that article earlier. They say, let me look at this article right quick. Yeah, it was crazy. A Virginia woman. This is the article, fellas. I'm sorry, people. It says Virginia woman dies shortly after COVID vaccination, though no link has been found. These people are crazy. They would. It's like somebody dying shortly after being shot in the head, but no link has been found.
that's what she must be black. She must have been black because any kind of mention of any kind of leak scares black. One thing's been good about black people not getting vaccinated. They're scared. They're scary people. Scary people. So the idea of scaring us to take it is not bigger than the scary of not taking it, right? Because they know the repercussions of what black people have been through in this society, right? So no matter how many bootlicking coons they bring out to speak amongst black people, it doesn't work. Because now we know that they're bought and paid for. You've got no fake more civil rights leaders. Al Sharpton has no credibility within black society. That bought and paid for agent ass coon. You got no black. You got no Jesse Jackson. Oh man, you just throw him in the woodshed. You can't bring Andrew Young. We told you be worried about white supremacists more than black people. That don't work. So you got no more tools to bring amongst black people. Go ahead, sir.
That's the crazy part. So you said she must be black. I just looked the lady up and sure enough she was black. Yeah, and she was a minister. So I guess Jesus didn't hold her hand through that little event. But yeah.
And now you got and her being a minister, I guess she didn't pray hard enough. White Jesus. And now, like I said, I told you they're gonna have these bootlicking scriptures. That's a year ago what was coming. Negroes promote these goopy masks on that chat. They don't promote no more, you know, because they got real and thick. I told you that too. So these fake Negroes are gonna stop promoting this mask when they got real thick when that vaccination was gonna be coming. Because they don't want to be held liable for your ass dying because the fear that they made off their grip, and then them being responsible for your black ass dying. Being frightened to go taking this wicked ass vaccination, right? So you got TD fakes and the rest of these handkerchief head, what's the best way to call these tax evasionists, tax exempt status. Why they got to do it? See, the church, the black church has been turned against black people because of tax exempt status. They are not allowed to fight on your behalf. But it's supposed to be about Jesus. Any idiot would tell you, why you worry about taxes if you're supposed to be bringing the word, the righteous word of the God of the Lord you believe in. Oh, you're more concerned about your money. You're not worried about black people in the health. And the idea that black people don't understand that blows my mind. So they're going to work on against your best interest. What I would say.
I was just saying, that's just like the 501c3. That makes you up under. That makes you pretty much what's the word? A subordinate to the Rothschild organization. That's what it does because they're the ones who created the 501c3 designation. So it's crazy.
Exactly right. So, exactly right. So they got these people working on against your better benefit, and I don't know, either you're brain dead or stupid. You got all these agents and put to black society to lead you in the wrong direction. That's why they're there. So you got these other is now promoting the vaccination, right? I'm sure. Hey, I don't know what this black preacher lady is doing. She probably says, "Hey, I'm gonna show my congregation not to be afraid. I'm gonna do it first. I'm gonna do a Hank Aaron and hit a home run to the dirt nap. Watch me hit this home run into a damn early box coffin. I'm gonna take the dirt nap. Watch me. You sure showed me.
And just the fact that after all we've been through, we still trust these people and their medical procedures and their medical, practice because they haven't perfected any of it. Remember, I showed you just this article the other day where they got a new skin cancer treatment that consists of a fecal transplant. That's where they take feces from somebody else and put it in your booty, and that's supposed to cure you of skin cancer. Now we know the only people who are impacted by skin cancer, don't we?
What? Say it again, though.
I said we know the only people who are impacted by skin cancer.
Oh yeah.
So this treatment of transplanting fecal matter from one body, one foreign body into another foreign body, this is just sickness.
Yeah. Well, you're right, Big Cheese. That's already here. Yeah, we're working for food, working for illegal aliens, working for food. Hey, that's righteous. That's real, and that's that's the society that they're building slowly, slowly. And the handkerchief head Negroes are facilitating that. Your NAACPs, the Black Lives Matter, they're facilitating things to destroy us from within. Right? That's what they're meant to do. You latch onto these organizations which are not for black people's benefits. You got a black name, black sounding name, but no black agenda. They're anti-black progression. They're put there to
And,
hinder your progression.
and all of them work in a group against us. Like okay, I work at UPS. I'm gonna say at least 98% of management at UPS at the center that I work at is Hispanic. I'm gonna go on the list and say that the majority of them is Mexican. I ain't even gonna say they Puerto Ricans or Costa Ricans or Hondurans. They Mexican, and they promote Mexicans.
Yeah.
So the Mexicans that are supervisors and managers, they promote other Mexicans to be supervisors and managers. And I'm telling y'all, this supervisors and managers that's 19 years old that don't know nothing about business management. They don't know anything at all. But because of their last name and the hue of their skin, they get that benefit over the majority of the black employees up in that place. There's black employees up in there that's been working for 30 plus years that aren't supervisors, let alone managers. I'm like, what's really going on? You've been working 33 years, and this 19-year-old is your supervisor. How does that make sense?
It don't make sense. It makes sense in a world where they are trying to what? Put them as a buffer race, another buffer race over us, to make sure black people, as Big Cheese just says so eloquently, that you will be working for them for food. That you will be working for them for food, right? They're not bringing it. Why would they be bringing all these more illegals in here? Because you're not dying out, and their numbers are what depleting. So they are a buffer class, and they come from a system, a society that's anti-black. And I'm going to say so from Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, El Salvador. Because if you notice throughout the whole training and walking up, where the black people is walking with them. You got black people in all those countries. Every last one of those countries I said have black people. So they never had a black and brown coalition down there. Nicaragua has black people. You don't see them, but they're there. Honduras has black people. You don't see them, but they're there. El Salvador has black people. Where's this black and brown coalition at down there? Doesn't exist. You know,
Yeah, it reminds me of the benign neglect policy. One day we really need to look at that, Chief, how they outline promoting Puerto Ricans, promoting Mexicans, and all these other groups over us, so they will become the numerical majority over us, so therefore their needs can precede our needs, and they can justify it. Well, right now, that's what's going on. Even though numerically they might have higher numbers than us, they still are bringing in more and more illegals to try to drown our numbers out completely.
Exactly. Uh-oh. So let me go ahead. I want to share this video. These cats keep coming. They always try to put Dr. Clark in their damn mouth. And Dr. Clark was being very nice to Martin Luther King. He knew he was that was a phony movement too. He reiterated that many times, but he didn't never want to bring it up because he knew it hurts black people's feelings who do no research. But I'm gonna let him tell you about Farrakhan and also, but I really want to hear him say something about Nelson Mandela, the whole hoax of the Mandela nonsense. And 30 years later, Dr. Clark's been dead for 22 years, died in 98, or 23 now, right? Died in 98. So he's been dead for over 23 years, but he called out. So 30 years later of Nelson Mandela, black people are no better off than when he was still had his ass in prison. They're no better off. Oh, but you know what they are better off? Now they can now practice homosexuality and transgenderism openly. You get that? Which is not even their culture, but now been pried into their culture. That's why they propped up Julius Malema, who's behind all these perversions. Because you must accept these perversions to allow you to be a leader within Africa.
So you saying that these perversions was ramrodded and they into their culture?
That's what I'm saying.
Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Ramrodded.
Exactly. And that's what they're doing. Lets you know that who funds them, who backs them. Who funds them, who backs them. That's your main instant right there. Why are they pulling for these perversions so hard? Nothing to do with us. Why? So let me share this with you. Yeah, that's what I debunked years ago, talking about the curse shit. That you what your eyebrows, like your hair, and people with black hair were cursed and all this old goofy shit. Because they talking about that idiotic Islamic shit that's anti-black, completely anti-black. She must follow all this goofball behavior, this Nation of Islam nonsense. It's anti-black that promotes Arab culture, white Arab culture. Let's get that correct, white Arab culture. So this is John Henry Clarke pushing back on another fake leader people all want to give reference to, who was a tool bought and paid for by the Ashkenazim. Oh, he done some righteous things. So what? Nothing's changed under his leadership. He's done absolutely nothing. People that actually wanted to do some end up murdered, kicked out of the Goopy Nation, like Khalid Muhammad, or years earlier, Malcolm X. But I didn't want to talk about this point at all. I just want to have John Henry Clarke going to Nelson Mandela. Farrakhan is not my focus point tonight, but I'm going to let John Henry Clarke, who was honest to the bone. Isn't it funny? He tell you the truth about the cats. All these B1 niggas, they all hate for Farrakhan. Every last one of them. Ain't that funny? They don't know none of this. They don't know none of this history. They don't know none of this. See, I always reverse engineer niggas. Don't come to me, motherfucker. Your goddamn existence is inconsistent. Your talking points to me is inconsistent. Period. Because everybody knows this was said. This anti-black bullshit about you went to a jungle, how your head got curved, all this dumb shit. Because we know today that everybody else has animal fur. That's a fact. Not that goopy religious shit these goopy NOI niggas have been telling from their white master Arabs. Where the fuck they got that goopy shit to begin with? We know that our hair is the natural hair. We're the only ones that got actual hair. And genetically speaking, everybody else has fucking fur. That's a biological fact. So they went out here and caked for you having lice and shit and bugs in your hair. And since you sinned against Allah, fake made up God, you got bugs and your hair got kinky. But damn, that means I got rid of the bugs then. Shit. That was a blessing, not a curse. I don't get no motherfucking lice in my hair. Fleas that can nest in my fucking head.
And it's so crazy because people have lost the teachings. What Allah refers to is arm, leg, arm, head. It refers to the human body because the God dwells within us. Because the Creator or whatever dwells within us. That force dwells within us. So that is lost though. Instead of us searching within, they got us searching outside of us for this demiurge or whatever, this entity we giving our energy and drawing blood for.
Exactly right. So I'm gonna let Dr. Henry Clarke go ahead and dismantle Farrakhan. No, these other B niggas, they always propping up this shit. But they're supposed to be black first. You can't be black first talking about goddamn you in the jungle and your hair changed. Because that's a goddamn lie. It's a lie when they first said this shit, but they didn't know any damn thing. It was some religious gobbledygook they gave your dumb ass. Oh yeah, we was evil against the fake Allah. Oh, but they don't even do Allah. They do their Allah's this cracker named Farad Muhammad. We sinned against this cracker named Farad Muhammad, and our head became kinky. Yes, I believe this dumb ass shit. Out of your rabbit ass fucking mind, I'm here to say it. Don't like it.
I'm talking about nappy hair is a curse.
Make sure you smash that like button, family. Smash that like button. So
is that what you got here, Keith? Is that the recording you finna play when Farrakhan said nappy hair was a curse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm playing that because John Henry Clark is going. I just wanted to go into Mandela, but somebody patched this together and just brought Farrakhan. Because Farrakhan wasn't my focus really, but somebody put this in there. He must put this in there with the with the two. He was talking about the two together, I guess. And they put it together. My focus is not Farrakhan. I've been got rid of that nonsense. You follow that shit to your own peril. And all this idiotic shit. They won't reverse engineer it because they gotta keep their fake shit going. These other B1 Negroes, they won't never say the truth. They're big up all the great things he's done. They ain't done a goddamn thing great. Nothing. Created his own NOI because when Elijah Muhammad died, he gave the damn NOI to his son, who took it back into regular Islam. So what you're doing is Farrakhanism. It's not even the Nation of Islam. But you don't know any real history. And you get these goofy B1 niggas keep saying the same dumb shit to you. It's Farrakhanism. Because his son, Wallace, took the Nation of Islam back into regular Islam. And Farrakhan made his own Islam up. So it's really Farrakhanism. That's what it is. If you want to be correct, if you want to know history, then he started talking this old goofy shit about you cursed from his master cracker, Farad. All this old goofy shit. But these other Negroes will never mention that because they're dubious and phony. They're dubious and phony because they got a grip. They don't want to offend nobody because they gripped it off with these dumbass fucking movies that they make. They don't do any real work. So they can't really do real shit because they don't want to take away from their audience. You get it? They can never really bring you the real truth of what's going on, as John Henry Clark would do, because he actually cared about black people and bringing them the honest to God truth about people. So when Nelson Mandela was at his height, it was John Henry Clark that went after him. So he didn't do shit for black people, and they got no land, and white people own every damn thing. So he was counterproductive to the fake white narrative of them building Nelson Mandela into this God figure. That's why you got all these Nelson Mandela movies, The Long Walk Home, just like you got all the Martin Luther King movies. You got thousands of Martin Luther King movies now, thousands of Nelson Mandela movies. Because that's to keep the propaganda in your mind. You venerate these people who sold you out in your mind. Propaganda. But let me let them speak. Takes you in.
Your eyeballs are going to be the same. So Shabazz was not permitted to stay in that area, so he took his family into the jungle of East Asia, which we now call Africa.
Africa was never called East Asia.
Think of people close to nature. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, this is the origin of kinky hair. Because we didn't have kinky hair prior to that. The hair on our head was like the hair on our eyebrow.
But see, these are all lies. Genetically, we know these are lies. See? But we're talking about, but we keep raising up these people talk complete idiotic nonsense. Complete
Are you
idiotic
telling
nonsense.
me?
Would you say so?
Are you telling me that the hair in my drawers was once like the hair on my eyebrow?
Exactly. Because every other people came from an animal, and that's fur. We don't have fur. That's why we're special. That's why. Our hair is not, because we actually have hair. Everybody else has animal fur. That's why, Lewis. That's why. Genetically, these are facts. That's why all other people get lice and we do not. So how could that be a curse on us? Huh? But that's your anti-black rhetoric that you've given the black people because they've grown up with so much self-hate that they couldn't distinguish that this is bullshit you were talking about. But he wasn't the focus. Exactly, never existed. The nature tells you. Made up shit they created. Yeah. Never existed. Made up nonsense. Wow. Some of woo! Anti-black. Anti-black. Some of Indian. Oh man. Your nose and your lips. He's talking about East Indian. He's not African. Thinner lips, thinner nose. He's original. Because you're the original. The God. Wow. Wow. This is the most anti-black, idiotic ass shit you ever heard. It, it, this that's why I told you these goopy religions, and this is some made up shit that they created. It ain't even Islam. Islam don't accept this goopy shit. This ain't even Islam. But black people are so idiotic and so hungry for fake religions to believe any old kind of corny ass shit. And this man's completely destroying you from within again, destroying your whole image and making you feel bad about being who you are. Creator didn't make no damn garbage when he created you first. With your kinky hair and your big nose and your black color. There was a reason why you had all these attributes that this goofy ass nigga, this fake ass mulatto don't got no interest even talking about.
What he's talking is white supremacy with a black face. Yeah, that's all he's talking.
That's exactly what he is. White supremacist with a black face. That's what he was meant to do. He is an agent. Negro, I've been said that I don't give a fuck who gets mad about it. Can what B1 nigga come get this work? Some real B1. Not some shit you motherfuckers just say out your goddamn mouth. This is completely anti-black, white racism. This is the goofy shit he believes. This is the shit he teaches his people. You're cursed by God. That your hair wraps around like the universe because that's where you came from. Not some stupid shit that they made up from some cracker. Gave it to their ass back in 1928 or wherever the hell this fake ass Farad Muhammad came from. But the fuck, I don't give a shit. Whatever kind of fake whiteism they're teaching black people, complete idiotic ass lies. And funny, you can prove this now genetically. What he's saying is a motherfucking lie. But he's never gonna come out and admit it. You can prove this genetically. Because he got scientists and doctors supposed you can prove this genetically. What the fuck he just says a lie. So his God is lying to him then. So your God is a liar. You can prove this genetically. What he's saying is a motherfucking lie. Nah, Malcolm X never said no shit like this. He never believed no shit like this. Because this dude's an agent.
would share us in Europe. And if we think we're going to go down the NACP route, we just got to have one here. In the South Africa, in the rest of Africa, I'm interested in Africa.
That
If you can't make a decision about the wealth of your country, a foreigner will decide whether you pay for soldiers, whether you pay your civil servant, they evaluate your money for they get granted. And sooner or later, they're going to demand your land as collateral. When people take your land, they take away your nation. Land is the base of nation.
so I really just want to share, like I said, the Nelson Mandela lie that you've been given. Another puppet put in there that they propped. That's why you get all these Nelson Mandela movies, right? It would never benefit the black people in South Africa. South Africa's more fucked up and impoverished for black people than it's ever been. 30 years after this Nelson Mandela scam. Okay? So we're more fucked up today after this 50-year scam or 60-year scam of MLK. Things have got progressively worse for black people, and that's what it was supposed to do. And now we've been flooded with all these illegal immigrants to make it 10 times as worse, right? This is a genocidal program. What to do with the Negro after slavery, after we didn't let him build our empire? What do we do with him? Thing was to genocide us off. That's never been the changing goal. That's never been the changing goal here. Always to genocide us off. Slowly, whatever. And so that's why the black collective must always have a fake agent parachuted within us and to give it credibility where we follow it. We follow. They do it to no other community but us, right? At the end of the day, it's about us. Always been about us.
And what we should know is that just like Chief was saying, Black Lives Matter is the 2021 version of the NAACP. We have to understand that transhumanism is the 2021 version of eugenics.
Exactly right. Exactly right. God King the Real. We're on the path of black Argentinians. That's a good narrative. That is a fact, Jack. We are on the path. I'm glad somebody always bring up. We're on the path of black Argentinians. And you say, Keith, what is a black Argentinian? Exactly. Who were the majority of the country years ago. So you'll tell me today, Keith, what is a black Argentinian? And I'll say, exactly. What is that? Exactly.
Yeah, they kept having conflict. They kept having it where Argentina would join the war, and they would put the black citizens on the front line. I was saying that how they got rid of the black Argentinians was they kept having these civil conflicts, and whenever they did, they would put the black civilians and the black citizens on the front line. And it was purposely. They would make it seem like it was just these wars going on, but it was their way to get rid of the black people.
So what Zoe said is exactly right. You know, so as God King Darrell said, just like the And that's what they're trying to do. And black people don't see it. Okay? That's what's coming. That's the reason why all of you being flooded with illegal aliens who are hostile to you. They're hostile. They know they're hostile, so why they bring them in? It's not in your interest. You don't have enough jobs here for the people that are here, so why flood us with more people when there are not enough jobs to go around, especially now that you got AI technology being introduced everywhere in the country. Artificial intelligence, right? So the few manual jobs that are still left, like construction and other things that are less AI comprehensive, are going to go to these Mexicans. It's like Zoe just said in the warehouse. You got 18 and 19-year-old Mexicans or Hispanics are now the supervisor. As um, Joe Biden apropos said, you niggas are going to have to start listening to the Mexicans, Hispanics. You niggas going to do it. You're going to have to start paying attention to these Hispanics who outnumber your ass. Said it with so much venom and hostility. Who outnumber your no good ass. You understand that, niggas? That's why we're bringing them in here. And we're unapologetic about it.
You know, Keith, I just want to add too, because black people voting for Joe Biden is synonymous to what happened in Argentina, because with the black Argentinians, they was real patriotic. You know what I'm saying? They loved their country and all this, even though they was black and they was on the bottom of the society in Argentina. The thing is they still wanted to prove how patriotic they were, just like black folks. We always push to prove how much we love America.
We're going to prove we love America by fighting in their wars and dying. No, you just prove that you're stupid and incapable of critical thought. That's what you prove, that you're incapable of critical thought. Okay? That's what you prove. So we understand our enemies cannot give us our heroes or create our institutions. We've got no real institutions of power to project political power. We've got none. I don't care how many goofy movies you make. That's not an institution of political power. Okay? Make sure we understand that. Making goofy movies is not an institution of creating political powers, which you're going to need. And then also backed up by economic power. You can't have one without the other. You must need economics, but you must have political power too. But you're going to be wiped out. You're going to be flooded with these Mexicans flood into your community, but they're going to outnumber you. So your political power, but you really don't have none now, because you got coons that they put in these positions of power to make sure that you're not represented from the Congressional Black Caucus on down to the local level. The black mayors, black city councilmen, those positions are going to be gone. They're going to be flooded with Mexicans. Well, let me say Hispanics, because they come from everywhere. They're not going to vote for your black ass. They're going to vote for their own. So now they're going to have what? Control of the centers of power within your community. So you've got no economic benefit, and now you've got no political benefit whatsoever. Power. So now they can enact all these wicked ass laws that are meant to harm you as a people. And it's coming, Jack. That's what this said. You're living in the beginning of a police state. But unlike China, which is a police state, at least they're all Chinese, right? It's wicked, but it's going to be more wicked here because it's going to be a police state also based on racial discrimination and brutality, right? Racial discrimination and brutality, with no way out. So, Dred Scott case still stands, and every verse, and we wonder why we can't win that. We never reversed. I said that years ago, never reversed. The Dred Scott case back in 1850, whatever, was never reversed. I was Dred Scott in 1950 or the 1850s or the 1880s. You got Plessy versus Ferguson. I gotta get the dates right. Here was Dred Scott. What year was the Dred Scott decision? The phone died, so we're about to leave anyway. Sorry about that, Zoe. I didn't plug it in. The phone went out. Sorry about that. The phone died. And then you destroy the black woman's Bible. She won't buy one from her own self anymore. You're running to these crazy $1,000,000 because of self-hate and the destruction of the family. And all this was implemented. This was sat down, thought about, and put into action. Make sure you understand that. That's true. Kinky ears from the devil and all this other stupid shit. And they'll prop them up, give them holidays, and make you celebrate failure. Black people have been celebrating 60 years of failure. Walking around building, singing songs. They told you that shit worked, it ain't never worked. If it didn't work then, why you thought it was going to work now? It doesn't work now. It doesn't work now. It didn't work then. Through their propaganda, they made you believe it worked. It didn't work. It never worked. That's their media making you believe it worked. It never worked then. Why doesn't it work now? And each time they give you another movie, MLK movie, they only came on 2 years without playing, but a few months back, because all the shit is coming out about this dude. Trying to keep it together, they'll shut down the channel about his love for white women and all the other heinous shit that is made. But they gotta slowly mention that because they can't say people crazy lie. So much evidence out there. Ain't nobody taking the CIA making fake lies about his loving white women. These other big ass D1 niggas keep saying. Keep making all kind of dubious agent videos. Mr. King, all that shit. Get out of here. Kill what? Kill crime. Kill duplicity. What the hell are you talking about? And you don't check Martin Luther King's past outside eye your ass. I know you either an agent or you got some grip coming that you don't want to offend the rest of black people because you don't hurt their feelings to know the truth about things they can't accept. They can't accept that these leaders were created by white people to destroy black people from within. Can't accept it. They're going to just look around and see what rooted the civil rights movement there. That's the beneficial for black people. Because your enemies cannot give you a hero. Your enemies can't give you a hero or your institution. Because they be political or economic. You can't do it without them bringing you an institution like PLO. Black Lives Matter, NAACP, Urban League, and this other fake Al Sharpton, whatever this is, the Action Net, whatever they be shit called, they call that organization. National Action League, whatever they call it. It's a waste of my time to even mention that shit. Because a new front organization that represents his no good Asian ass. But anybody picking you these institutions, they put these fake leaders out in front of you. But even back then, the righteous never accepted the NAACP. You never seen Booker T. Washington ever mention the NAACP. Ida B. Wells refused to be a part of it. She chose to hustle in. Ida B. Wells refused to be a part of the shit. But then they always think of what? W.E.B. Du Bois is half-breed cool. Oh, he's finally with this. It's always the same fucking story when they're outed. He ran to Ghana when he knew things were bad. After he sold black people out and said, oh, things are bad. White man's not going to change, don't vote. That was supposed to hold him in deep esteem and reverence. And he took 50 years of selling black people down the river with this NAACP hustle. He knew they never ran it. They never controlled the intellectual power that came out of there. What was being told? What did they represent? What they were trying to do? He was a willing tool of those. Willing. But Ida B. Wells said, this is bullshit. I would not be a willing tool to lie to my people about a fake black group organization that doesn't represent black people and was never built and founded to benefit black people. You understand that? So what? Did he benefit anybody black? No. So as a sentence office was useless to black people. And we gotta keep it right? That's why we become more 1983. They tried to parachute Camilla Harris into Black society, placing her as a black woman, behind a black woman. Thank God black people learned that, hey, where's this person come from? I'm not from California, so let me go back into her damn past in her history and look up what's her record towards black people. It was heinous. Heinous. So they couldn't sell her like they did, and they tried to now sell her every package her as this black woman fighting for justice. Concerned about black people, but she never identified as a black woman to begin with. Because they know how stupid she is. Never change the act, just copy and paste. On to the next hustle. Copy and paste the last hustle. Back with Barack Obama. But unfortunately, Barack Obama did so much damage to black people. It left such a bitter taste in our mouth. We weren't prepared to come back soon enough and drop another handkerchief and parachute head individual to black society without her checking her papers. Reverse engineering is no good fraud. I agree, Lando. Systems gotta be torn down. I agree. Because all we're doing now is asking for better treatment, better positions on the slave ship. Instead of being in the basement with the gear, we're actually come on deck. I'm up on deck in this slave ship. Everything's good. It's high privilege. It's high privilege. Prisoner of war, that's it. You got a better position on the slave ship. But at the end of the day, you're still a slave. So until we able to tell down the whole wicked ass system, and I mean their monetary system, their monetary wicked ass capitalist system, predatory, because that's the nature, and oppressive, that's the nature, right? And exploitive, that's their nature. It's exploitive, oppressive, and predatory. That's what the capitalist system is. And they also play both sides of the argument. So they create another fake system. Now you fight on the boogeyman, the communist. The communist gives everybody's a communist. And they control both systems. So let me say let's love to the family. Let me wrap this thing up. Now, like I said, our enemies cannot do us. Everybody they bring amongst us, we must engineer that ass. Anybody they bring amongst us, we must do our due diligence and reverse engineer them. Find out who's in them, where they come from, what's their pedigree, what is their background. What is their pedigree? What is their background? So we must do that. We can't fall for the okie dokie. We do not want to become the blacks of Argentina. And that is their end game. After slavery was the how can we get rid of the Negro problem? We weren't supposed to survive slavery. They were supposed to work us to death and building their empire. But the joke is on them. We have the strongest genetics. So we survive with our nappy hair and big lips. That's the reason why we did survive it. Because of our nappy hair and our big lips. Because of our genetic makeup. Right? Not some fake ass curse from some fake ass white dude. Some man running across the crowd. Cursed us. Who are older and more ancient than this fake ass genetics. People they talk about cursed us. Didn't even exist when we first laid everything down on this planet. These motherfuckers didn't even exist. So you pay that idiotic nonsense no attention. Nonsense when it came out of his goddamn mouth. Dr. John Henry Clark, when the number third, calling out dead. For the rest of these other people, niggas, calling that shit out. You're not gonna do it. Ain't nothing happening. They're busy doing their own fake ass division. Cash app, or go to network and donate at help to keep the life of the African, get you a way to go, a way out. You're gonna need that. Sorry, don't go be movies. They're gonna help you if we're gonna be turned into Argentina. You're gonna need a plan B. Right. For you and your family and what? Your posterity. You have to start thinking about your children and your grandchildren. What are you going to do? They're going to build this police state. That's what they're saying. That's where they flood us with these illegal aliens. They're going to come to your community. What Zoe is saying is the future. 19-year-old Hispanics being your boss. If you're allowed to get the job, like, you might not even get the job, but being their flunky because they got you Hispanics that they need to get jobs to. And everything else is being put in, but AI, automation is coming as well. So you're going to be crossed out of those positions. Right? The technical skills that you think you're going to need, you're going to use computers to do those positions. That can think faster and quicker and don't need any breaks and don't need any pay. Right? Think faster, don't need any pay, don't need any bathroom breaks or lunch breaks or vacation. So you've been slowly edged out of the economics of the country. And most of you idiots that voted for Biden process up. Speed it up. Because you were supposedly scared. Yes, yes. Appreciate you. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, while we can before it goes back down. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate you guys, even though, it don't last long over here. Channel be gone. Exactly right. Surprised we got it. We ain't seen it in 3 years. 3 years ago. Took the channel down, they wouldn't let you get it no more until we mentioned that name. How the hell all these other cats get we don't even get none of this stuff. Even though it reached that, the other channel goes down, but we never allowed them to apply for it. So, but of course, they don't want to apply for it's real at all. At all. Pause it for a second. They had a truck, and you guys looked this up. I think this is like 3 years ago. Let me see if I can pull this up. They had a truck from California all the way to Jacksonville, right? That was completely automated. They followed it to make sure it would do that I-10 from San Diego port all the way to the Jacksonville, Florida port. Let me see what that was 3 years ago. Let me see this. So you won't even be driving a truck. Everybody drive a truck. Drive a truck. We don't truck drive. What year was that? What year was the AI truck that drove from San Diego to Jacksonville, Florida? Self-driving semi-truck haul load of butter 200 $2,800 safety driver. See, this is different. Okay. Yeah, the other was the first one 2017. This is another. It happened in 2020, California, Pennsylvania. Damn, I didn't know about this one. So you got a truck. It says an automation semi truck developed by Plus AI made a cross-country trip in less than 3 days, trouble-free with no incidents where a going to be gone too. Right? That was 2019. But I know it first started in 2007. 2019. I know the first one was 2017 from San Diego. San Diego, Jacksonville, Florida. They're already companies. San Diego. So like I said, everything's gonna be automated. Even the manual jobs, you be a truck driver, even though you be a truck driver, all that shit. Those jobs are gonna be automated. Stop this shit. You take a shower, door, get meals, then stop the sleep. And I know I can pay the damn bill. You're a profit. She said, well, maybe the business is the tires or whatever. Crazy crap. but now they're going to easily segue because the technology is coming online. That's 2 years ago. That's 2019. I think I first seen it in 2017. But it can only go straight across I-10, San Diego to Jackson. Now the shit is maneuvered in the traffic and maneuvered. That's 2 years maneuvered in the downtown Philadelphia and all that other shit. That's blowing my mind. I'm like, wow. That's blowing my mind. So imagine where technology is today. Those truck driving jobs are gone for black men. Those are gone black men. There's no future in you truck driving. That's a fact. AI is going to have that level job. It's going to be cheaper to have the trucks, cheaper to they don't have to pay nobody. They got to worry about nobody getting sick. They got nobody getting sick. They make their deliveries on time. And the computer. With the coordinates, type of that got delivered, go do his thing. Hit that like button before you get out of here one more time. Hit the like button. Smash that like button. Share the video. Like I said, getting close to Tanzania. I'm telling you, you're gonna need an out. You're gonna need an out. And it ain't here in America. I'm sorry. AI is coming. Black people will be pushed to the edge of society. Even though I'm an advocate of they're right on target to wipe us out. They're right on target to wipe black people out. Influx of immigrants and no political power backed by no economic power. There is no basis to give us reparations. They're already wicked. They never wanted to give it to begin with. But now we won't have any leverage because we don't have any political leverage. Right? We won't be the main power behind this big ass Democratic Party. These idiots without voting for Joe Biden who didn't offer your shit. So they destroyed our goddamn leverage. And they're making sure that your leverage never comes back again by flooding these illegal aliens and making them legal. The key word is plugging in here and giving them citizenship so they be beholden to the people that made them legal. Right? Destroying our political leverage that we did have in 2020 that we will not have in the future. See, nobody wants to tell you that no dirt, no secret. That's the reason why they're doing it. To destroy your political leverage. To destroy that. So with that gone, what are you going to do? You better start thinking rationally, intelligently. Not going to say, oh, go get a truck driving job. Go get a truck driving job. That's what you do. I've already showed you what's coming with the truck driver. It's already here. So you might got a good 8 years maybe when they have it go across the board to implement it. And have it as the norm. But that's coming. That's a fact. Like, I didn't even know that it was that advanced. I said damn, but that's 2 years ago. It's not even this year. It's 2 years ago. Technology. But I said damn. Like, damn. into the outer ranks of economic society. You gotta be forced, like I said, to go to underground economy, and that's gonna railroad you right to the prison. Your children or your grandchildren, somebody's that's your future. And please, as it is, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't need your labor. That's what I brought your black ass over here for. Capture the blacks that were here to begin with. Because I needed your goddamn labor. I don't need it anymore. I don't need your Negro labor. I got AI. So what am I going to get? Elephant in the room again. Elephant in the room. What to do with the Negro? The Negro problem. What am I to do with you pesky Negroes? You're not going for the bootlicks. I parachute in front of you. But you know what's coming. So with that, I'm going to say much love, family. That's my brother, much love, family. I'm out of here. Take care of themselves. Everybody take care of themselves, and I'm out. Peace.